podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Kuker. My real name is Jacob, but my friends call me Cub, and you should too. Today's episode is episode 579. We are trucking right along, my friends. Thank you for being here. We're going to be talking about planet worship in the Bible. And what does that really look like? Why is the Bible possibly, maybe, I think so, about planet worship and zodiac ages? We're going to get into zodiac ages on a whole nother episode. But today I've got a ton of data to go through talking about what it looks like to have the planetary bodies, or the great gods as they're called, anthropomorphized into Bible characters. Now, you can look at this a couple of different ways. I am not telling you the Bible is not true. I'm not telling you that it is true. I'm telling you that it is much deeper than you've been told. I'm telling you that it goes way deeper with allegory about planetary bodies and their energetic effects on your universe. You being the emphasis of universe. So that's what we're going to talk about today. If you like studying the esoteric, the ancient, the occult, and the hidden mysteries, you are absolutely going to love my podcast. So welcome today. We are live on Facebook. We're live on Instagram. We're live on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. We're over on Twitch right now. Shortly after this, we're going to be live over on Apple and Spotify. So thank you for joining today. I really appreciate you guys. Mel, welcome. Unicorn Purple, welcome. How are you doing? Arnell, thanks for being here. Samuel, what's up? Kevin W., how are you? Adrienne Cummings, what is going on? Christina, Meg 3, thanks for being here. Luke Williams, user 85. My Nice 7, how are you? Kelly Carmichael, Mike Bartleston, Brynette Williams, thank you guys so much for stopping by. Appreciate it. Like I said, I promise I'm going to blow your mind today. Everything that we're getting into going forward on this podcast is a whole lot less fluff and a whole lot more raw, mind-blowing occult data. Okay. And when I say occult, I don't mean a cult. I mean occult. Occult means it is special knowledge hidden from the masses. Okay. That's what I talk about here. It doesn't mean it's evil at all, by the way. There's occult knowledge in your Bible. There's occult knowledge hidden all over buildings and signage and logos and things like that. There's also occult knowledge hidden in your very home, all around you. And that's one of the things that I teach, specifically the mysteries of ancient wisdom. And if you guys like to unlock the secrets of heaven within you, that's what this podcast is all about. That's what my new book is all about. That's what my life's work is all about. And I love what I get to do. I've been on a wild journey, up, down, left, right, forward, backward, every which way. Saturn's pushed me around, right? We're going to talk about that today. I've had to give up a lot for the knowledge and the wisdom that I have. You will too, by the way. This is not stuff that you just wake up one day and get and, it's all happy-go-lucky. This requires life changes, changes to your attitude, changes to your outlook, changes to your mindset, changes to your heart, and sometimes changes to your physical reality. So Lulu, what's up? Charles, what's up? Percy, what's up? Missouri girl, how are you? Noobshot says planet worship. All right, I'll listen. Awesome. Thank you, my friend. So yes, we're going to talk about planet worship. I have right now pulled up the Mysteries of Ancient Wisdom lexicon that we're going to go through, the planetary lexicon. The planetary lexicon is a big part of the book. It's a whole chapter. It goes through all of what I'm going to talk about today and way more. There's no way on one episode I can get through everything in the planetary lexicon chapter, because it really is just such a force to be reckoned with. So we're going to talk about the sun, Mercury, Venus, the moon, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn today. So Missouri girl says, hey, Cub, doing great. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for being here. I hope this episode blesses you richly and helps unlock a larger part of your universe, my friends. So that's what I'm all about here, guys. Knowledge is not good unless you share it. Knowledge is best when shared with the masses, in my humble opinion, specifically those that are ready for it. And that's why I focus very, very heavily on wisdom. Wisdom is really my favorite thing when it comes to all of this, because wisdom is really the alchemy of knowledge becoming understanding. If knowledge is masculine, wisdom is feminine, the understanding is the Christ child, right? You and me, the Son of God. It is the alchemy of both of those things. And that is why I love what I do, because I get to get into a lot deeper realms than maybe what you're going to hear at church, or what you're going to hear on maybe another podcast that focuses on, you know, going away from all the Christian mythos. So I get into a lot of the Christian mythos here, though this is not a religious podcast. I do dig deep into the Bible. So, because I absolutely love the Bible, and I think when read allegorically is absolutely, absolutely fantastic. So, thank you guys for joining today. Check out the short video on this today. We're going to jump into the sun. The sun is our local star, a quantum fire at the center of our heavens. It archetypes the Son of God, the Father principle made manifest, governing light, life, and order. It encodes illumination, radiating life force into creation. The sun is constantly blasting Earth with invisible energy that affects our planet, as well as our bodies, mind, and spirit. By the way, quick disclaimer, you'll see it in the description down below. I'm not a scientist. I'm not any credentialed thing other than a wacky guy that loves to look at all of this stuff and decided that it was the most important thing in his life. So that's where I am. I heavily, heavily, heavily research. I was in professional ministry for almost 7 years. And then I deconstructed from the church pretty much completely. Then I readdressed the whole church thing, went back to the church for a time, not knowing what I was really there looking for, other than I knew I was looking for anything that I may have left behind, anything I was missing. And out of that experience, I gained a beautiful, evolved understanding that wasn't out of anger towards the church or deconstruction. And it certainly wasn't out of the need for the church or trying to hold on to that kind of favored mentality, if you will, that comfort zone that I had in the church. So now, my new evolution, that's where this new book came from. Everything has really brought me full circle, where I was able to go get the pearls that I left behind in the church construct without really fully getting sucked back in, but also to be able to respect that and then even dig deeper into what they do when you go and sit in church and you hear all this stuff. How can you sit there and understand the true mysteries beyond what Mr. or Mrs. Pastor are talking about? And that's really what I like to get into, because there's a whole nother world out there. And you don't have to go worship Satan or Saturn and do rituals at midnight to, really unlock these things. It requires self-initiation. I will talk to you about the self-initiation process at the end of this episode. That's going to be one of my evangelical things that I start doing here, not to evangelize you for the church, but to help lead you into what it means to be a self-initiate. And so if you'll stick around till that, I will help you move from passive podcast watcher, passive truth seeker, to someone who is really initiating themselves into that next level of like, hey, I'm ready. Let's go. I'm willing to suspend disbelief and get deeper down the rabbit hole. So we'll talk about that at the end. Is Sophia part of the Holy Trinity or separate figure from the divine wisdom? Sophia, so they're all archetypes. Sophia, and I'm about to talk about that too. The moon is Sin in Sumerian, Isis in Egyptian, Selene in Greek, Mani in Germanic, Luna in Latin, and Sophia in the biblical. So the moon is never specifically called Sophia, but it does say that Sophia, aka the Greek word for wisdom, is in the moon. And that is a widely held, occult understanding or esoteric understanding. The difference between occult is all about the symbolism hidden in plain sight. Esoteric is all about the internal things that are happening to you when you understand those things. So to have an esoteric meaning of something would be, you go watch a movie and you see all the symbols and allegory that are meant for you as a truth seeker, as a young initiate. When you see all of the hidden symbols in plain sight and you start recognizing them, that's occult knowledge. And so they really go hand in hand. And when it comes to wisdom, the quantum trinity that I lay out in the book is father knowledge or power, which is energy, raw energy, the mother, which is wisdom, wisdom being the divine feminine side of the Trinity, or the Holy Spirit, if you will, the comforter, the mother figure, the receiver of the seed of divine energy, if you can get my drift with that. The receiver, the womb, also meaning mother, matrix, mater. Matrix is literally the Latin word for womb. So it's talking about if you say, oh, I'm in the matrix, you're just in the womb. It doesn't mean it's a bad place. It means that you're in a womb. And that is one of the biggest, revelations I had. If I'm in the womb, why am I not making this the best womb possible? There was no womb at the end, right? Like in the Bible story. So why am I not making it the best womb possible? Instead of trying to go, oh, I'm in a matrix and everybody's against me and everything's against all the true seekers or whatever, when you really get outside of that, that's another level of awakening, because you quit victimizing yourself and you start understanding that it's all a reflection of you. And once I get into this today and you begin to understand the planetary archetypes and the biblical characters, and then we're going to talk a little bit about a song that I just heard and listened to purposefully again today by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, with a famous line in it that says, space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. We're going to talk about what does that mean. There's this whole movement now about space. What is space? Stuff like that. Hey, thank you guys. Thank you, Jacqueline, for the purchase. Thanks. Really, really looking forward to getting you that book and getting you the new bundle. Thank you, my friend. I hadn't even talked about that yet. Somebody's already dropping in and checking out the new book. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. So this is where, when you begin to unlock this and you're like, whoa, like Enoch is Mercury because Mercury is closest to the sun. Lucifer is Venus because she reflects the light of the sun. And that's who Jesus is. Okay. Like, again, it doesn't become sacrilegious. It doesn't become heretical. It becomes understanding. It becomes like, oh, wait a minute. This is a beautiful allegory, as above, so below. I am not here, nor have I ever been here to say that the biblical stories never, ever happened. Okay. I'm here to say that they are, for sure, allegory, as Paul called the Old Testament, allegory, to understand your relationship, the state of how you relate to the divine, period. That's what they're there for. If they happened historically, sweet, awesome. As above, so below, meaning it is a heavenly truth, a spiritual truth that has then shadowed and mimicked itself in a historical timeline, which is why I give zero rats patooties if anything literally happened, including if Jesus Christ walked the earth. It doesn't offend me. It doesn't take away my salvation. It doesn't threaten me in any form or fashion if all of that is a story and an allegory, because the power for me as a seeker, as a soul, realizing I'm a soul, not my body. I don't need it to happen in the physical to have it happen spiritually. And once it happens spiritually, then I get it, and then I move forward in my journey. And so that's what I'm saying. I don't care if any of it happened or not. If you want it to be literal, that's fine. But please, please, please move beyond the literal, move into the allegory, the allegorical. Allegorical is just like a parable. Jesus used parables in the Bible, and he said the kingdom of heaven is like blank. Kingdom of heaven is like this, like that. Those are allegory. Those are parable stories to evoke a sense of wonder and imagination in the truth seeker. Does that make sense? Like, is that kind of vibing with everybody? I hope it is. And Jonathan, I hope I answered your question, my friend. Napoleon says, I have heard about Ignis Primordia, the first spark of remembrance from the source, to remember itself before expanding into creation, before the void itself. Yeah, absolutely. So there's a ton of these different cosmologies around like who or what God is, and all of the subsequent like aeons and angels and archons and things that kind of fall from that original light. The best way to understand all of that is it's your consciousness, period. There's no objective thing outside of you. You are creating the understanding of all of that. And when you go, okay, it was the first forethought of the divine light. Well, that is your first spark of consciousness. Once you opened your eyes and went, wait a minute, like, whoa, it's an allegory for your awakening. And then beyond that, you add all these systems, right? You're like, well, I need to go to this church. Well, I need to read this book. I need to do that. I need to do whatever, right? I'm not here to not sell you on books or not sell you on church or whatever. But what I'm saying is, like, we are the ones that create a need for all of these things. The Bhagavad Gita says that scripture is worthless for those who have achieved and received the Spirit of God. So why, even the Bhagavad Gita, right? Which is, I think, is one of the coolest scriptures in the world, is saying that scripture is worthless for those who actually like get it, like actually, have attained that communion with God, right? Found the kingdom within. Merle, what's up, brother? How are you? Merle says, yo, Cub. I always hear your voice. Yo, Cub, brother, what's up? Missed the call. I tried my best, but couldn't make it. No worries, my friend. This Saturday is going to be a fantastic call. In fact, we're going to go through this chapter on Saturday's call and get a lot deeper into this because there's a lot of questions to be answered around this, a lot of understanding on what the biblical allegory is, what are the planetary archetypes, and why the song by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Space May Be the Final Frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement, might be a clue and a key to really understanding all of this allegory. Because we're always trying to take things literally, from science to mathematics, everything. But at the end of the day, we're always trying to describe something invisible, something that is non-corporeal, something that is non-manifest, something that is merely an idea until we observe it. And that is one of the weirdest paradoxes when it comes to all of this stuff, science and metaphysics, the quantum realm, spirituality. It all goes hand in hand, in my humble opinion. And that's what I love talking about here. So let's dive in even more. So we have the sun. Let's start with the sun. In the heliocentric model, by the way, I don't care. I am not here to debate Earth, flat Earth, round Earth, heliocentricity, any of that. I do not care. I don't want to debate it. I don't care what you believe. I don't care where you think you live. What I care about is understanding, according to this cosmology, as the sun being the center of our reality, and us being in a womb that is fed by the light of the sun. That's what I'm talking about. So in the book, I have based my cosmology on the planetary lexicon according to heliocentrism, just to stay in line with everything else you've learned in school and everything, right? I've got plenty of stuff to teach you that you didn't learn in school, but I'm going to start with the sun, Mercury, Venus, the moon, Earth, and so on. And that is, again, not to debate anybody on the cosmology that we live in, but rather to understand, what if it's all reflections? What if when we look up, we're just literally looking at a video game? Then it really doesn't matter. What matters is what it means. And that's what the book is focused on, not what is, but what if. And that's what the book is all about. So, thank you. Levi says, I think it's a realm of stuff only appears when it's viewed. Amen, brother. Like, thank you. You're like the only person, Levi, thank you, that has reflected that back and said exactly what I'm thinking. So thank you. I do believe it's one of those things. Like, you got people that debate flat earth. I think they live on a flat earth. You got people that say, oh, I live on a ball. I think they live on a ball. I say we live in a video game, and I live in a video game, and I play life like a video game. And I think that that's a lot more fun, B, a lot more rewarding, and C, I literally think that that's my lot in life. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. And so the Bhagavad Gita says to play your part and quit fighting your part and start being the character you were supposed to be. So the sun is our local star, a quantum fire at the center of the heavens that archetypes the Son of God, the Father principle made manifest. It is the governing light, the life and order, illumination, radiating life force. The sun is constantly blasting the earth with invisible energy. We call those light codes, by the way, in the woo-woo realm. Woo-woo will only get you so far, right? Woo-woo is great, but you need to understand the deeper part of the woo-woo, and why the sun is important. If you're going to like refer to light codes and go out and, receive the light codes, that's awesome. But understanding that it's the Son of God giving you those, that's like that's like a whole nother level, right? So we really need to understand that and what the actual archetype is behind that. So the sun is Utu in the Sumerian. And by the way, in the lexicon, I'm going to give you the Sumerian, the Egyptian, the Greek, the Germanic, the Latin, and the biblical archetypes. The reason I'm doing this is because I could give you 1,000 more than that on each one of these. But I'm giving you the main ones that you're going to see in the world around you, including on the internet when you get into the Anunnaki and stuff like that, which is why I am including the Sumerian in all of these things. So you have Utu, which is the sun god in Sumerian. Egyptian is Ra, literally Ra, the sun god, right? Helios in the Greek, Sol in Germanic, Solaris in Latin. And I'm putting the Latin word in there for everyone because the Latin word is often used in a lot of invocation magic. And it's also used in a lot of church ceremonies, especially within the Catholic rite. It's also used even in the etymology of a lot of English words that we have. So really important. Same thing with Greek. When you understand the Greek, soul on here, it's like, or excuse me, the Greek helios, then you understand where like a lot of these words like helium and helios and hell, right? Like it just kind of starts tying in this etymology. When you see all these words together, you're like, oh, wait a minute, this is cool. So that's why I'm putting these on here. And this is just like the briefings page. And then I go deep. I have like a full page set with artwork on each one of these, going deeper into the mythologies. I'm just going to scratch the surface today and kind of give you guys the whole Bible story laid out. We'll start with the book of Enoch. The book of Enoch, do I have it here? No, I've got Bhagavad Gita's out right now because I've been reading that. The book of Enoch talks about Enoch, who's a prophet of God. He's taken up, right? He gets to go so close to the throne of God that it almost blinds him because it is so bright. What does that sound like? Sounds exactly like the planet Mercury, the closest planet to the sun, small yet paradoxical. Its day exceeds its year. That's very interesting. It is a literal paradox. It has a longer day than its year. It literally takes it longer to make one rotation of the planet than it does to go around the sun. That's a paradox. Enoch is a paradox. Is he an angel? Is he a prophet? Is he a god? What is he? Did he exist? It's the same weird thing. It's like, well, that's just a very odd thing to even be true, right? And so you learn all this stuff, and it makes the allegory even deeper, even when you learn the science of things, right? It archetypes Hermes or Enoch, the eternal messenger, transmitting knowledge between worlds. Again, it's the closest to the sun. It's receiving those light codes, that knowledge directly from the sun, the closest one, right? The caduceus staff is its associated symbol. You may have seen this medical symbol, right? Mercury translates divine truth from the abstract into understanding. So the little caduceus, it's got the little wings and the little staff with the two snakes around it. It's knowledge, healing, that type of thing. It's a very interesting symbol. It can also be tied, and I'll show this later too in the chapters, can also be tied to Mercury, to Moses. Thank you. Hello, brain fart there. To Moses holding up the serpent in the desert. And so all of this, again, it's not literal, guys. Quit going, no, Moses did this because this. It's all allegory. What does it mean to you? Moses was ushering in a new age. Moses is an archetypal Enoch of sorts, right? So Levi says, I got the caduceus tattoo on my back. Got it before I knew about Kundalini, etc. Dude, that is awesome. Good for you, brother. Very, very cool. Merle says, what does that sound like? I believe he just had an out-of-body experience. Sorry, was using talk to text and it picked up your words. Oh, interesting. Okay. So what if Enoch was only having an outer-body experience or a near-death experience? Here's the deal, Merle. Okay, I know you joined a little late. Get outside the literal. What if Enoch wasn't freaking real, guys? What if these characters, what if from Enoch to Jesus Christ wasn't even real, okay? What I am selling you today is the understanding of what they are, not what they could have been, what they are. And I love it, Merle. Love it. Those are some fun things to explore. But I'm telling you, I've wasted a lot of time debating with people. What if Enoch went up on a spaceship? What if God's an alien? And I love all that stuff. I really, really do. But what if none of it freaking matters and all of that is just to distract you from the allegory of understanding Enoch is your own higher mind? It's your own third eye. It's literally tied to the third eye chakra, which I show in the chakra list. I've got an entire chakra lexicon in the book as well as a full explanation of each chakra, what it does, what it was believed to do, how you can use it. It's beautiful. So not dogging on you, Merle, at all. I'm just saying, like, I'm hyped up about this because we have had so many awesome debates in the community, Merle, and talked about what if. But again, like, what if none of it matters? What if it is about you? What if it's about your universe? What if it isn't even a physical body or a planet out there somewhere, but rather is a projection of your own mind showing you the technology within your own soul? And what if you have just cast it in a role of a great God that you can see when you look up at the night sky? Because it's all an illusion, brother. It's all an illusion. What if? What if? That's the what if I've been going to more and more and more and more. The further I get down this journey and the further I explore all this stuff, I've gotten exceedingly bored with things like the ancient astronaut theory. What if aliens came to this planet and created us? Like, that's really cool. But again, like, thank you, Abel. There's Abel groaning. What if we were turned on? What if this is a video game? And what if everybody's plugged in playing their own game because there's only one being, and that being is playing as billions of people, or seemingly billions of people, probably a lot less if you actually look at the amount of people that are awakened. There's very few people playing the same game together, if you will. Just like the Truman Show. Truman couldn't wake up other people on the Truman Show because they were all in on it, right? Well, if you go watch Ready Player One, everybody's in the game playing together. If you go watch Free Guy, he's trying to wake up other characters in the game, and even his best friend is like, you're insane, until his best friend goes, wait a minute, we can't go past the water. And so it's like, wow, it's like such a cool what if, right? Yeah, Merle. No, brother. And like I said, I'm not dogging on you at all, Merle. I just know you well, and I can bounce off of you as an example for everybody else here. So thanks for being here, brother. And we're all learning. We're all learning. I am too. This is all the stuff I've been learning for the book as I put the book out has challenged me so hardcore on any literal interpretation. It's been the weirdest thing. It's almost like, because I named the book what I did, I named it Mysteries of Ancient Wisdom, Lost Symbolism of Heaven Within. And it's like, it's so weird. Once I named it that, it's almost like it came to fruition as that thing, like as the actual thing that I named it. It's like it's forcing me to dig into these lost symbols and find heaven within me. And it's absolutely amazing. Merle says, I want to go past the water. Brother, we're building a raft and getting on it together, my friends, because we can't go alone, right? We gotta go with as many people as possible. Thank you, brother. I love that. So that's Mercury, Enki, Thoth, Hermes, Mimir, Scientia, by the way, in the Latin, or Enoch. And so, a lot of people is like, is Thoth different than Hermes? They're all the same archetype. Objectively, if they were real people, they were different people. But spiritually, they all shared the same spirit, right? The same spirit of seeking knowledge, the same spirit of writing it down, the same spirit of sharing that with others and being close mentally to God. Again, same archetype as the planet Mercury. What a paradox. What a weird thing to be. I know it well. I mean, in a lot of ways, I have the same kind of archetype in my own life of being a paradox myself as a Pisces. A lot of people think I'm dualistic or flighty, when really I actually do get things done. I'm actually very focused, but I have to go through a lot of different things that look like weird seasons of my life when they're really all adding up to one. Essentially, my day lasts longer than my year, right? Paradoxically. And I love to write stuff down and share it with others and kind of pontificate that knowledge that I have in this weird mental place that I get to go, being a creator and a creative. I know a lot of other people that way too. And so that's a really cool thing when you get to use it that way. It doesn't make me more special than anybody else, but you may see your archetype in here today, is what I'm saying as we go through this. So yeah, and then Enki, Lord Enki, the serpent, being the water bearer. He's the one that was cast out to the Abzu by his brother Enlil. We'll talk about Enlil here in a little bit, aka Jupiter, aka Yahweh. I'm going to get to that. In fact, I have proof that Jupiter is Yahweh, and Enlil, and I'm going to get into that too. This is, if you've ever wanted to know who are all these characters, what do they have in common, I think I've finally cracked a lot of that code, guys. And this has been a lot of research and a lot of going within to put things together and figure out what the archetypes actually are, or at least in the way that I view them and see them. Other people have drawn different archetypes, and that's fine. You may draw different ones than you see in the book, and that's super cool, by the way. That's the point of the book, is to get you to think, not get you to buy into what I think, but to figure out what you think. That's the point. That should be the point of any book. That should be the point of the Bible, by the way. So then we have Venus, which is Inanna Tihumaturi in the Egyptian, Inanna in the Sumerian, Phosphorus in the Greek, and Hesperos as well, morning and evening star. I'll get into why that is. Arvandil in Germanic, Lucifer in Latin. So Latin is Lucifer, but also biblical. And then it's also Hillel ben Seshar in the Bible, which means son of the morning star. So that is why, again, it's important to know etymology. It's important to read into this stuff deeper. It's important to figure these things out. What's up, NJS Services? How you doing, my friend? How you doing? So Venus glows with a brilliant light, both morning and evening herald. It archetypes Lucifer, the morning star, embodying illumination. Okay. Historically, Lucifer, aka Lucy in the sky with diamonds, Venus has been seen as a feminine. However, biblically, she, he, whatever you want to call it, the androgynous one, is identified as Jesus Christ himself in the book of Revelation. He says, I am the bright and morning star. And that is directly a reference to the verse in Isaiah. He is essentially in book of Revelation becoming all things. He's becoming God over time. He's becoming God of the world. He is taking the place of every single planet in the solar system. He's taking the place of every archetype from Satan to Lucifer, everything. And I don't mean Satan as in the evil devil. I mean Satan as in he's going to become the God of the material world. He's going to recreate a new world. And he's becoming wisdom, he's becoming knowledge, he's becoming understanding, he's becoming all of these things in the book of Revelation. It's like the supreme being of Jesus Christ, just like the supreme being of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. So that's where we get like a really cool view of what that might be. So but yeah, that's Venus. Venus draws a pentagram in the heavens every 8 years. Its atmosphere scatters light, and its crystalline reflection amplifies illumination. So the reason in Isaiah you have, oh, how far you have fallen, bright and morning star, Hillel ben Seshar. Why are they saying that? Because he's trying to give a diss. The writer of Isaiah is giving a diss to the king of Babylon. And so this is, when Jesus is essentially appropriating this in the book of Revelation, he's saying, no, I am the morning star. I came to herald the light, and I am the light, by the way. It's pretty darn cool. Like when you really get into the allegory of all this, you're like, whoa, like that's insanely cool. And all of this is connected to what's called the Mazzaroth in Hebrew. The Mazzaroth is the zodiac. It is the sun, the moon, the stars. It is all the planetary bodies and how they tell the story. The Mazzaroth is mentioned multiple times in the Bible, specifically in the book of Job, where God says, can you bring forth the Mazzaroth from its houses, right? And so he's talking about the zodiac from its houses. So for anybody to think this stuff is evil, or anybody to say it doesn't jive with Christianity or biblical understanding, is not only ignorant of the truth, they've been blinded by Satan, the god of this world, who has built a religious construct to keep you from looking outside of that and understand the universal allegory. Just like Jesus said, you knew the way to the kingdom, yet you wouldn't even go through the gate yourself. And worse, you locked it for other people. And that's what he was telling the Jewish leaders of his time, the religious leaders. He was like, you know how to get there. You know what all this stuff's about, but you've created rules and regulations around it, and you won't even go through it yourself. You don't even follow those rules, and you're certainly locking other people out from the truth. So, he was slamming down hard. He's like, you pit of vipers. And, it's just like, oh, gee, Jesus Christ, love it. And so that's why I think in the book of Revelation, the writer of Revelation is appropriating every one of these titles for Jesus himself. He's God Most High. He's King of Kings, Lord of Lords, God of the earth, God of gods, Lucifer, the bright and morning star, heralding the light, and the light himself. So Revelation is just like, it is literally like a diss track to everybody that had been arguing about what the truth was. Revelation is all about when you achieve gnosis, when you achieve communion with God, and you transcend your body, quiet your mind, and receive that light, practicing things like the third eye, kundalini, all of that, meditation, prayer, fasting, all the things that Jesus himself was teaching. When you achieve that state of enlightenment, that trumps everything else. And I don't mean that in, as a joke on the modern, leader that we have. I mean, it's like that card. It's the wild card that beats out everything, right? And I think that's why the writer of Revelation was going, hey, this is the goal. This is the understanding. And that's why you have 7 lampstands, 7 chakras. Every one of them correlate to the chakras. I've got an entire chapter on that in the book, and I'll be sharing that very, very soon with you guys. But they all connect to the planets too. It's mind-boggling when you really get into this. Then there's the moon. The moon is sin. Why was the moon sin? In Sumerian. So to be in sin means to follow your carnal desires and your survival instinct and ignore the higher spirit, the higher intelligence within you. That's why the Sumerians, I believe, called it sin, and why sin got appropriated into the Hebrew language of becoming that sin. And then what we have in the English language as sin, it wasn't sin in Hebrew, but now it's sin in English. I think it's all connected. And so the moon is sin. Well, what is sin? Sin is to follow your emotions and your carnal desires outside of the knowledge or the illumination of the Son of God, the light, the Christ light, right? So if you're following the moon, you're just like acting out of your base desires, right? But if you're following the illumination of the sun and the moon in balance, then you have the divine marriage, the marriage supper of the Lamb, the wisdom and the knowledge, the light and the mirror reflecting that knowledge. And you end up with like a really, really awesome understanding at that point, rather than being in sin. And then it's also Isis in the Egyptian, Selene in the Greek, Mani in Germanic, Luna in Latin, and Sophia in the biblical. So yes, Sophia is the moon. Sophia is also buried in Mother Earth, that we'll talk about here in a minute. So, wisdom is in essentially all things in the material realm, because it was planted there before Saturn took over as kind of a violent lover, if you will, that was not the true God, but began to program over the top of the true wisdom. So, and that's for a whole nother, like, I could do a whole episode on the whole Satan mythology. So, but yeah, that the moon orbits planet Earth with its mysterious tidal lock, glowing silver and the eternal herald of rhythm and reflection. Again, she's the mirror. She archetypes Sophia, embodiment of wisdom, intuition, and the sun's mirror. It governs cycles of increase and decline, pulling tides, shaping fertility, and marking the hidden order of time. The moon's cycle is 28 days, just like a feminine cycle, by the way. You can't make this stuff up, guys. Like, this is some deep knowledge here. I hope you guys are listening, because you put all this together and you're like, wait a minute, there's something about all of this. Now we're going to learn about Mother Earth. So Earth is key. Think Anunnaki, by the way. Anu is heaven, Ki is earth. So Anunnaki, Ki is earth in Sumerian, Geb in the Egyptian, Gaia in the Greek, Midgard in Germanic, Terra, Terra in Latin. By the way, that's my wife's name, spelled differently. And Adama in the biblical, Adama meaning earth. Okay, so that's where we get the word Adam from. Adam meaning red earth. The first man was red earth, right? So Adama. The earth is our planetary biosphere and harbinger of life. It archetypes the divine mother or mother earth, serving as the womb or matrix, also referred to in Latin. The material world once functioned in perfect harmony before humanity disrupted its balance. The earth orbits the sun roughly every 365 days and is governed by the moon's 28-day cycle. That's very, very, very important. So, what we're going to get to is why Satan has become the god of this world and why Satan overpowers, oftentimes, if you look at what we've built on the world, oftentimes overpowers the subtle wisdom in Mother Earth. Yet, Mother Earth will always win, by the way. You take all the people away up from this planet, and Mother Earth will take over real quick. Every office building in the world will have vines growing through it. You know, it's going to become a home again for Mother Earth. She'll reclaim everything. She is quiet, she is patient, but when you piss her off, she can get rough, right? And so and then we're going to talk about Mars, because Mars here, this is really cool, guys. Mars becomes an archetype from the book of Revelation. In fact, one of the most hotly debated archetypes from the book of Revelation. Before we get into that, let me answer a couple of questions, guys. Thank you for being here. Mike Lancaster says, what book are you referring to? The book is called Mysteries of Ancient Wisdom, Lost Symbolism of Heaven Within. It is scheduled for release around September 22nd is our projected print date to send it off to the printer. So it is very, very, very close to done. Really working on it, really working through a bunch of things in it right now. Very excited to get it out to you guys. There's also a course. There's also music. There's also the community. We have calls every Saturday. You can check it out. We've got a bundle available right now. You can just purchase the book on pre-order right now. You can get the digital book on pre-order, all of the stuff over at mysteriesofancientwisdom.com. Check out the Mysteries of Ancient Wisdom bundle. Plus, you get a free book with that and the community. This is the last day, by the way. It is Wednesday, September 3rd. Pretty much cutting this off tomorrow. You got about 24 hours. I'm just not going to be doing the free book after that. I'm going to change the bundle. It'll be a digital only, and you can add the book if you want, just because I need to start moving orders over to the order platform, and having them separate helps me out. And you guys that do the pre-orders get the free book with it. You get a free year of the community with it as well. And that's where we have our regular calls over there. Most Saturdays is when we have them at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to be going through the book all year, guys. Lots of cool stuff over in the community. Christy says, please repeat the title. It is Mysteries of Ancient Wisdom. You can click on the link in my bio to find it directly. That's Mysteries of Ancient Wisdom.com. Mysteries of Ancient Wisdom.com, all one word. You can go check that out. Like I said, link in the bio or in the description. And that is my official website. So let's see. I'll leave that QR code up. You guys that are over on Facebook and YouTube can scan that QR code or take a screenshot and then long hold the QR code. It'll take you to the website. So I got to address NJS Services. NJS Services, one of my favorite haters on here. NJS Services says, that's false. Enlil is a cherub, Lucifer's brother. Enlil is not Yahweh, neither is he Jesus. This is false pagan teachings. My friend, A, you have zero proof of that. B, everything I'm teaching is archetypal. And when you understand the archetype and the allegory, it makes absolutely perfect, beautiful sense, because none of this stuff is, as I teach it, an objective reality, but rather a subjective understanding once you unlock wisdom within you. So NJS is Lucifer's son of the morning, not the morning star. Jesus is the morning star. What do you think the morning star is referring to, by the way? Son of the morning is literally the anthropomorphized version of morning star. That is what it is, by the way. So you can argue that all day long. But again, you got to get outside the literal understanding, guys. That literal stuff it'll rot your brain. It becomes a big crutch and a stronghold, and causes you to argue with other people and hate on other people groups. I just suggest stay away from it. Go allegorical, go love and light, go all inclusive. Guys, we're all one, and we got to start being more tolerant and loving of each other, and quit arguing all the little semantics and try to understand the bigger picture together. That's the only way humanity evolves. That's the only way we get to the next level, guys. Certainly the only way you get to the next level, and me, myself, and I. So Barry says, what religion do I believe? I believe in universalism, essentially. I believe all of these allegories are talking about the same thing: Christ, the anointed, the higher state of humanity, the higher mind, the Son of God, the realization that we're all divine, returning to the source, if you will. And I think there's truth in everything from Hinduism to Islam to Judaism to Christianity to atheism to agnosticism to Gnosticism. By the way, Gnosticism just means to know. So I think there's truth in everything. I personally love the Christian mythos because I think it takes all of these teachings and puts them in one cosmology that is supposed to be easier to understand. Yet we all argue about it all the time, unfortunately. So that's really where I try to, kind of. So you believe believe in everything at the same time? Yeah, absolutely. Because it's easy to do when you take it all allegorically. I'm reading the Bhagavad Gita again, and I read it last night, and I hear the words of Jesus Christ in it. I hear the words of Buddha. Like, it's the same philosophy, guys, and it's like, why are we arguing about, no, Jesus is the way? He's the way because he's like, I am the way. Like, Krishna is like, I am the way. Buddha, they're like, Buddha, how do we become like you? Become like me. I'm the way, right? Like, that was the whole point. So why are we arguing about semantics when it's all allegory? Doxa says Gnostic. Yes, Gnostic. Gnostic means to know. Agnostic means, hey, I don't know. I'm on the fence. I don't know if there's a God. I don't know if there is a God. Gnostic means I know who God is. I know the true God and I understand the allegory in all things. A lot of people call me Gnostic. I don't claim Gnosticism because there's a lot of weird cosmology in it, and I don't necessarily get into all of that. Again, you might call me a universal Gnostic or a Gnostic universalist or a Christian mystic or whatever you want to call me. Again, it doesn't matter what I am. It matters what you are. And it's always interesting to me. Everybody asks me, what do you claim as a religion or whatever? I don't have to claim anything. I am what I am. And I believe truth wherever I see it. I don't care in what form it comes in. I've seen truth from ancient scriptures to modern day movies to books I'm reading. I'm reading J.R.R. Tolkien's Silmarillion right now, and it's literally giving the cosmology of like the Pleroma and the Aeons and Yaldabaoth and the God Most High, and that it's just like everything. It's amazing. So, do I believe the churches and the Bibles? Again, I don't believe the churches and the Bibles in what they teach. I believe the knowledge that they have. I can go into any church and sit and listen to the message, and I will view it allegorically, esoterically, and looking through an occult lens and get a beautiful message out of it, and be able to take it to heart, while the person next to me may be sitting there going, all these other ways are wrong and I got to judge them. We'll judge not lest ye be judged, right? Well, I believe in what Jesus said. I'm a red letter Christian if I'm anything, because I believe in the red letters. I believe in the Bhagavad Gita. I believe in everything but churchianity and the construct and religiosity and all of that, though I respect everyone's church, if that makes sense. So, have you always thought this way? How long did it take to start thinking like this? I am 39 years old, and it has taken 39 years. And I'm still not there, my friends. I'm still not there. I have every other Tuesday, I have questions. Every other Sunday, I have a breakdown, right? Just like everybody, this is a journey. And if you're going to grapple with truth, I get some of the nastiest comments on the internet on my videos. And to sit there and sit with myself and go, is this true? Why is this person picking this up? But then you realize it's all a reflection of me. It's just literally my own consciousness, projecting and reflecting any piece of me that wants to be accusatory or complimentary. And the more you love yourself, the less of that junk you get, and the more confident you really become, not false confidence, but true confidence. And so that's where I really started, kind of rounding the corner a little bit there is learning that, I'm not looking for a system to tell me what's true. I'm looking to figure out who I am, know thyself, and then I will know truth in plain sight all around me. So I hope that makes sense. And that is a big philosophy that I teach in the book, by the way. All the symbolism I get into, the main question and the main thesis of the book is it's your universe. You are the you in universe. You are the one. Are you the chosen one? Do you think you are? Well, yeah, you are if you think you are. And I don't mean the chosen one out of billions. I mean the understanding that you're creating the billions. You're creating everything that you think you see. Because until you wake up on my timeline, we're not even co-playing the game together necessarily. Everybody's in their own avatar right now, trying to wake up and realize they're the son of God. Jesus just showed us exactly how to do it. Nightmares Unleashed says, same here. Great name, great comment. Thank you, my friend. Beret said, I hope I'm saying your name right, my friend. Beret Garcia says, can you explain why what Gnostic teachings are? I kind of have the idea, but I don't really know for sure. Yeah. So Gnostic teachings actually come right out of the time of Jesus. There's a lot of kind of legend and idea that Jesus himself was teaching Gnostic ideas and that those are the true teachings of Jesus. However, they were called heresy. In fact, Irenaeus wrote a book called on heresy and pretty much put most Gnostic ideas in that. Gnostic ideas are the idea that essentially the God of the Bible is an egoic God and a reflection of your own ego, and that he is called Yaldabaoth, and he is kind of an ignorant God who's become the God of this world. Essentially, the archetype of Saturn. That's why you see the Saturn cube floating around, and you see a lot of these cults and stuff use the little Saturn logo, right? It's because they know, like they get it, and they know that like a lot of what people worship is Saturn. They're worshiping this god of time, the god of this world. What essentially says it's God, when really the archetype is closer to Jupiter, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But even beyond that, and so who and what God is what Gnosticism attempts to explain. And again, it has all these different mythological creatures in it, none of which are literal or real. It's all about understanding Yaldabaoth is a lion-headed serpent. It's what's called the demiurge. He created the material realm and he thinks he's God. He's actually the offspring of Sophia, the goddess of wisdom. You see where I'm going with this? There's like this whole cosmology around it. And it's beautiful, again, if you can take it allegorically, just like anything. But the problem I've run into is when I identified as a Gnostic, people were like, that's not true. There's no being like, and it's people are like still in the literal interpretation, and it hurt my head. So I really had to like get away from that. And, and even at this point, I'm having to get away largely from Christianity because I'm getting a lot of people that assume I'm going to validate their more narrow view of a literal Jesus Christ, when it doesn't disturb me in the least if he was not literal, but rather an allegory of the solar myth, the higher mind, and the realization that you are divine, and that's how you beat the game. Does that make sense? Michael says, don't eat peanut butter. Yeah, I know, bro, dude. I'm allergic to it, so I try to avoid it. How did you know? You must be psychic, Michael. Does that make sense, Beret? I hope that made sense. Tone says, I am the observer. I know I am God. Good for you. Good for you. And I hope you mean that in a humble, allegorical sense, not a literal sense. That's where a lot of cult leaders come from. They realize that they're God or that they're the son of God. They're the chosen one, and they make themselves the chosen one. But the difference between, say, myself, maybe you, and a bunch of cult leaders is, when we realize we're the son of God, we don't wield it over others. We use it to serve and love and try to help reflect that into the world. And it doesn't mean I'm the only son of God. It means that I am one avatar that has woken up. I don't even call myself an avatar, but one, I call this my avatar body, my vessel. This vessel is waking up slowly, realizing, hey, wait a minute, all this stuff is an allegory for me to become more like God and become more like my father and my mother. So I hope that makes sense. But What do I think of AI? I love it. Use it all the time. I think it's fantastic. I think more people are worshiping it though, and will be worshiping it in the future. So be careful with it. Use it wisely. Use it as a tool rather than a god. I know many people have started asking it questions like they should to their higher mind or to the Akasha or to God himself. And unfortunately, they're getting some wild answers, and it's caused a lot of people a lot of heartache, including some very, very poor life decisions. So Tone says, I don't want to play the game anymore. Tone, I'm telling you, man, once you realize what the game is about, you actually want to keep playing it. And that's why you keep coming here. That's why you've been reincarnated over and over and over. You're still learning things, you're still growing in it, and you're still creating better versions of it. And so the quicker you realize that in your flesh and you wake up and go, this is a game. Like I get to play the freaking game. Every morning I wake up, I get to play the game, see what I can do, see what hacks I can put in, see what upgrades I can make. Let's see how I can level up my character. It becomes mind-blowingly exciting and so rewarding. And there's so many opportunities around every corner. I mean, everything from, I've been able to quit my job 10 years ago. I haven't worked a real job in 10 years. I've gotten to always do where my passion led me and always do creative work. And I think that's amazing, from a marketing and advertising agency to a film company to making music videos to making videos on YouTube to consulting to being a full-time TikTok, YouTube, Insta, whatever guy here. It's just really, really cool what you can do when you realize it's a game and you start playing it based on your highest excitement, and you got to really believe it, and you can't be ignorant. I'm not telling anybody go quit your job overnight, but I'm telling you, you got to start believing in yourself. You got to go all in on, this is my freaking game, and I am going to stop being run by all the programs and start running it myself. So let's see. Rain says the more they connect on the divine, the more being love, the more fast advance in peace. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, his way, he's the tools, his teaching how to reach the Father, divine heaven. That's why he's the way, the truth, and the life. He's teaching mind, body, and spirit. Amen, my friend. Mentally, physically, spiritually. Exactly. Again, you have mental, physical, and spiritual. That's all divine feminine, divine masculine, and then the child. It's wisdom, knowledge, understanding. It's all the same archetypes: up, down, backwards, forwards. And when you start like clicking on that, you're like, oh my gosh, like none of this is different. You got feminine, masculine, and then the offspring of that. You have wisdom, knowledge, understanding. You have mind, body, and spirit. The body is the offspring. It's your body here, and your id, or your ego, your realization of, I like ice cream and I do this and I do that. Like all the things you think you are, that is a manifestation of the divine feminine and the divine masculine. That is the mind and the spirit coming together, the spirit being God the Father, the mind being God the Mother. It's also an allegory for the thoughts and the emotions. Thoughts are electric, emotions are magnetic, and then you manifest everything that you experience. So let's see. Tone says, all I know is paint and plaster and cook. I'm tired and bored. Brother, shake it up then. Shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. If you're bored, you've chosen to be bored. I'm telling you guys, there's no excuse to be bored or broke or any of that stuff anymore. And I'm not dogging on anybody, by the way. I'm just saying, in the internet age, people are playing video games online and making millions of dollars. Okay, come on, find your thing, find what you're in freaking love with, and go for it, guys. I teach a whole thing on manifestation. I taught a whole occult money episode the other day. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm telling you guys, I've watched crazy results from friends and family members that have heard what I'm saying and made their own decisions around it. So I'm not liable for your decisions, but I'm telling you, I had to go all in on myself. And going all in on myself and realizing that I have passion, I have gifts, I have talents, and if I start using them, then the universe will pay me for them. And I am totally okay with getting paid, by the way. I have no qualms getting paid, happy to get paid, blessed to get paid. Literally in 5 minutes ago on live today, I got someone bought an entire bundle from the website. So I'm telling you guys, I get paid to exist. I get paid to play. I get paid to do this all day. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. you can do the same thing in a completely different way, by the way. You can be just like me in a completely different way. And so there's no reason to be bored anymore, brother. And you start learning this stuff, you'll really start unlocking things and go, wait a minute. Well, what if I did this? What if I tried that? What, and you got to do it with a good heart too. Because some people take the same thing that, this kind of same philosophy of like, this is my reality. Oh, there's a guy I'm supposed to be meeting here in a minute. You start taking all this stuff, and when you rework it, understand it on a deeper level, then you can start unlocking a lot of fun in your reality. Don't be crazy like some of those, cult leaders and stuff where they go nuts with it. I'm the son of God and everything, No, just understand it. Like, have fun with your life. Have fun with your reality. Make a more beautiful world for yourself, for your others, for kids. It's an amazing, amazing place to be. So Dark Kitten says, I live life as best I could. Good for you, my friend. Good. You guys have some fun with it. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about Jupiter. We'll talk about Saturn. We're going to talk about God Most High. We're going to talk about Satan, and we're going to talk about Yahweh of the Old Testament. What are they really? How do you understand them in this allegory? I'm going to get deeper into that. Guys, go check out the book. If you want the last day to pre-order and get the free book, you'll get an entire free book. I will literally ship you the whole book. The book's gotten really expensive on its projections to print with all the different colors. It's got really high quality paper, hardcover, everything. It's going to be more expensive to print and ship. So I can't keep doing the free books beyond like really today. I've got like a 24-hour timer on there right now. So go check that out, guys. If you want to get the bundle, you'll get the course with the bundle. You'll get the meditation music with it. You're going to get all the goodies with that. Tons of cool stuff with that, as well as the free book and a free year to the community. So I'm literally giving you the whole book that other people are going to be buying for, the regular price. So go check that out. If you want the free gifts with that, go get your bundle on order today. You'll be the first ones to receive it when it pops out, and you can join Saturday's call and start launching into the book and learning the concepts in it with me before you get your copy. And get all the goodies, including the courses and everything. You can check out the full release schedule on the website as well with the projections. First, we'll have the book, and then flowing from that will be things like the course, the audio book, the music, all of that stuff. And I've put the projected dates on there. I'm doing my best to stick to those dates within reason and flexibility to be able to make sure all the edits are done correctly and the production value is very high. So, but right now on schedule with everything on there, which is really good. So go check that out. mysteriesofancientwisdom.com. Get yourself some. There's the QR code. Scan that if you can see it. Take a screenshot with your phone and then long hold it, and it'll take you over to the website. Or hit up mysteriesofancientwisdom.com. That's mysteriesofancientwisdom.com, all one word. I love you guys. Have a beautiful day. God bless you. Namaste.